Shaktipat Seer 2.
In the fall of 2002, I was traveling across India studying and filming various tantric practices. My quest for tantrics and gurus took me to the ancient temple town of Tanjore in the southern Indian state of Tamil Nadu. For centuries, Tanjore had been the capital of the Chola kings, a celebrated dynasty of ancient India. What you see before you is an example of brilliant architecture of the big temple built 1,000 years ago. It is recognized by the United Nations as a World Heritage Monument. Today, Tanjore still remains a hub for artists, sculptors, musicians, yogis, and scholars. Before I reached Tanjore, I'd traveled some 348 kilometers from the metropolis of Madras, where little did I know what was in store for me. Something rather astonishing and beyond my beliefs. More than I'd ever expected. Once there, I met this unusual man who has spent more than 1,000 days in sacrificial fire. Meet Rambhauswami, simple and unassuming, 63 years of age, 5 feet 3 inches tall, weighing a mere 43 kilos, 94 pounds. Yet this man demonstrates qualities that seem to defy the very laws of medicine, physics, even nature. Rambhau exhibits perfect mastery over the mystical, in this case, over fire. Here he will repeatedly offer himself to the sacrificial flames lying amidst a blaze and return unhurt every time. And unlike a number of firewalkers, sorcerers, and magicians, past and present, he is not about performance or ego, or a display of powers for commercial gain. One can quickly notice that Rambhau leads a simple life, with days consisting of prayers, reading and researching ancient texts, offering advice and constantly thinking of his guru and his favorite god, Ganesha. For Rambhau, the fire ceremony is his prayer for global peace. At a time when the world is in flames, disarray, and communal disharmony, this simple man embraces the raging flames as an offering toward universal welfare. His guru, a renowned man of inexplicable miracles, was also reputed for his scholarly work in Sanskrit and South Indian classical music. The Swami lived to be 99 years old before passing on his legacy to the young Rambhau. Distanced from worldly chains and the trappings of contemporary society, Rambhau spends his life in prayer to his gods and guru, dedicating his existence in pursuit of knowledge and spiritualism. He began his study under his master's guidance in 1961. Rambhau remains consistent and cooperative, allowing himself to be patiently observed. When we first met, he asked me to analyze him critically as a scientist would. I found this to be a rare request from a guru. In this, I instantly understood that this guru is uniquely open, flexible, and down to earth. Rambhau is always eager to explore newer frontiers. He began his career as a researcher at a world-class research library at Tanjavur. A Sanskrit scholar, he is also one of only a few who can translate from Modi, a secret encoded language of the Maratha kings. Observing one of his daily routines caught my instant attention. Since 1977, he consumes only 2 bananas and a mere glass of milk twice a day. How does he do it? There is no medical explanation. By scientific parameters and all known medical standards, he should be malnourished, dehydrated, and starved. Yet the proof is otherwise. He is healthy and agile after 26 years of near starvation. He stopped drinking water in 1975, except for a few drops of water as a part of a daily prayer routine. How does he control his thirst and dehydration for the last 28 years? We simply don't know. He sleeps just 3 hours a day, yet remains very fresh and active. Rambhau's eating habits gradually changed over a period of time. Slowly, he switched from eating a regular vegetarian diet twice a day to once a day. Next, he lowered his intake further by eating a small quantity of puffed rice, milk, and water. And then onto his current diet, consisting of banana and milk. Rambhau defies all my notions of a yogi. Though distanced from society, he lives around his family rather than a cave. He is very much in touch with our world and life. He is always open-minded, absent of eccentricities, willing to answer all my questions, even willing to undergo a barrage of tests. He also provides guidance for the royals, rich and poor, always warm and affectionate to family and others. Rambhau truly transcends the barriers of religion, as his prayers and rituals are for universal welfare. A few years ago, when he performed the fire ritual in Malaysia, people of different religions came to get his blessings. I asked him why he deprives himself and frequently risks personal harm. He states that his goals are to prosper others, improve global welfare, and support universal well-being. Rambhau feels happy when hundreds of people benefit from the rituals. He desires nothing for himself and expects nothing from others. The ritual begins with the purification bath. From now on, Rambhau will not speak or eat his daily frugal meal and communicates by sign language. He commences his pre-ritual prayer after changing into fresh cotton attire. While he is meditating, blissful tears roll naturally. Rambhau is an advanced practitioner of pranayama, a yogic breathing technique which allows tapping of hidden cosmic energy called Kundalini. Now he is honoring the elephant, the earthly manifestation of his beloved Hindu god, Ganesha, the elephant-headed god of knowledge and the destroyer of evils and obstacles. He offers sandal paste, flowers, incense, and sugarcane to the elephant. Almost all Indian rituals begin with some form of offerings to Ganesha. Now, he ends the rite by prostrating in front of the elephant. Next, he honors the sacred cow with similar offerings. symbolically the giver of prosperity and health to the world according to scriptures. Rambhau explains to me the reasoning and medicinal value of herbs used in the ritual. I had a lot of questions about the grand recipe of herbs and other items used in the ceremony, their relevance and availability. The 14-hour ritual includes the use of 50 kilos of clarified butter known as ghee, 400 kilos of fire sticks, 200 kilos of herbal green, 400 slabs of dried cow dung, 50 coconuts, and a whopping 4,000 rice cakes with sweetened grated coconut filling and a wide array of herbs. This grand recipe is the menu for his god Ganesha, now personified by the fire in the 4x4 fireplace. Following a 4,000-year-old tradition, the fireplace is used for growing the sacrificial fire. It is made of red bricks painted with cow dung paste. All ritual items are placed around the fireplace and offered one by one. The ritual begins with the initiation. Rambhau is invoking his guru, the ultimate and constant guiding force. The ceremonial lamp is lit, and Rambhau begins his meditation and simultaneously starts offering items one by one. He appears to be silent, externally showing hand gestures that are indeed yogic postures called mudras. He told me later on that he was internally chanting a 32-syllable secret mantra, repeating it approximately 10,000 times during the ceremony. Rambhau has been chanting this mantra for the last 45 years. Calculations show that he must have chanted this mantra close to a staggering 10 million times. That too, at a conservative estimate of 600 chants per day. Rambhau offers the first piece of camphor to the fireplace. He performs a series of offerings in a prescribed manner. He dips the fire sticks in ghee, then offers them to the fireplace. Soon, various items are offered one by one. Now the fire begins to grow. Rambhau now wraps himself with a woolen cloth covering his chest. He tells me the woolen cloth keeps his upper body warmer. For him, it appears the warmer the better. By repeating his secret mantra, Rambhau explained that he was increasing his body temperature and was using wool to retain his body heat. He is slowly getting into a meditative state. I can see the transition in him. If only somehow we could read his mind, would we ask, what is he thinking? He takes a break and again starts offering other items one by one. Even though his hands are covered with highly flammable ghee, he repeatedly puts them into the fire. I wonder how he can withstand such exposure without getting burnt and blistered. All of the food offerings you see here are specially prepared as part of the ritual proceedings. The food preparation starts at 1 in the morning and takes approximately 10 hours. carefully places each item into the fire one at a time. He repeats this process several hundred times. Just this alone takes quite a few hours. Tears roll down his face. Rambhauswami is in a state of rapture. Later, I asked him why he was crying. He replied, "I wasn't crying out of pain or sorrow. Those were blissful tears." With a wooden stick, he is spreading the fire, distributing the glowing embers evenly around the fireplace. He is offering an incredible 4,000 small grated coconut balls, one by one. And little did I know what was coming next. Now, Rambhau transcends to an ecstatic mood. Amazingly, he uses his bare hands as he spreads the fire in the fireplace. He fills up the fireplace with fire sticks. Rambhau told me that he was establishing whether he had made the final connection with fire. It is from this point on that he will become fire-friendly. As the smoke begins to rise ferociously, Rambhau takes his place lying on a bed of firewood. A pedestal fan blows to intensify the heat, and it is removed once the fire starts to grow. Now begins the journey into the incredible. Thick smoke begins to surround him. He adjusts himself to a comfortable position on this bed of firewood. Through the intense smoke, we see the fire sticks begin to ignite underneath Rambhauswami. The audience, including our production crew, are in awe. They are excited and anxious to see what will happen next. A scientist or a rationalist would ask, what if Rambhau is using any fire retardant material on his clothing? What must have been his body temperature? What is the temperature inside the fireplace? We will find out later. I asked him why his clothing and hair did not catch fire. He replied that he was in union with the fire, and fire is friendly to him, and the fire does not harm him. This raging inferno is now engulfing Rambhau. He adjusts himself to a comfortable position. The fire is blowing in all directions. I can no longer bear the heat or the smoke, so I move away. I asked him what technique he uses to get into union with the fire. This was his brief explanation. I internally magnify the fire several 100,000 times, and there comes a point where I get linked and united with the magnified fire. This minute focus is my link. It is hard to notice his technique because it appears so effortless. Later on, it became apparent to me that he never tries to hide any information. In a typical landmark style of Indian yogis, I would get a small piece of the puzzle every time I talked to him. Then I would carefully reconstruct everything he had said to me, and a few days later, I would verify the facts. Rambhau has entered an altered state. His head is bulged and features appear stiff. Rambhau seems to be communicating with the fire by using sign language. There is no set amount of time for how long he stays in the fire. It ranges from 1 to 10 minutes at a stretch. Now the fire is blazing, reaching heights above 9 feet. Rambhau himself takes a break and returns. Throughout the ritual, Rambhau typically holds his breath while he continues to chant his secret mantra. The breathing cycle starts at 1.5 minutes and slowly increases to 3 minutes, then peaks at 5 minutes for each inhale. That is how he reaches a near complete focus and control over his physical senses and consciousness. By any standard of measure, it is a remarkable feat. Rambhau told me that if he does not follow this breathing technique, he would be severely burned. Rambhau adds more sticks to the fireplace. He periodically has to take time to refocus on his connection with the fire. Rambhau explained to me that by holding his breath, it allows him to concentrate and focus his energy. All his senses and thoughts will remain largely suspended, and he will have just 10% realization of what's happening. Rambhau doesn't show any sign of being tired or weakened despite this intense ritual and his fasting since morning. By now, he has been in fire for an hour and a half. Our cameramen were constantly looking for some bruises or burns on his feet, hands, shoulders, or any part of his exposed body, but there was none. I asked Rambhau, how critical is it to have a guru to follow? He states without his guru's blessings, grace, and training, he could not have accomplished anything. He owes everything to him. Again, Rambhau starts feeding the fire, now with herbal green, a medicinal herb with religious significance. This is traditionally used with the worship of Ganesha. Herbal green is also used as a treatment for diabetes. When viewing the rising flames, we only see part of the fire. There is actually more heat coming from beneath him that's generated by a 4-foot deep bed of coals. Rambhau knows that the herbal smoke has medicinal value. Aromatherapy of ancient Indian medicine is based on this principle. He has heard of cases where people with terminal illnesses have been cured by inhaling the herbal smoke during the ritual. He would like to have this scientifically researched to prove its validity. I cannot explain the type of excitement and intoxication the audience experiences. Their anticipation increases, much like the intensification of the fire. They want to see him challenge even bigger flames. I wonder if Rambhau feels as if he is holding a beloved baby as he stands to walk around the fireplace. I asked Rambhau what is his secret behind his unique abilities. He believes the powerful vibration of his repetitive mantra, combined with his pranayama, devotion to his guru and God, all combined together, make up the secret to his power. He quickly adds that he has a long way to go and a lot to learn. He doesn't want to take credit for his achievements. He wants to condition his body and mind further to continue his spiritual journey. His beard catches fire, but he swiftly brushes it away. The Swami believes firmly that his ceremonial prayers have solved many problems for others. He uses his prayers for others' welfare. He says, I am offering and surrendering all my body, senses, and intellect as unconditional sacrifice to fire. That's why my prayers yield results for others. Now Rambau's body burns, but he remains unaffected. When he gets up, the fire seems to have hurt him. We can see his painful reaction, but he quickly recovers. Rambau says, pleasure and pain exist only when the mind is attached to the body. When the mind is withdrawn from the body and focused totally on the creative majesty of fire, fire doesn't hurt you. You are fire, and fire is you. I asked Rambau whether he can teach his techniques to firefighters and emergency workers. He said he certainly could. I asked Rambau whether he is fire resistant at all times. He replied, "When I am in my normal state of mind, I am like everyone else, and fire will certainly hurt me. I am not a magician." He explains, by controlling the mind, fire can be befriended. The mind can do wonders. Rambau believes that he is not very special and anyone can develop these abilities. He says the mind and body will listen to the inner self once a certain threshold is crossed. One only needs determination and willpower. In order to achieve a certain goal, I chanted my secret mantra non-stop for 18 days. No food, no sleep, just a glass of lime juice once every 10 hours. This happened 25 years ago. The first step of the initiation process involves the chanting of certain mantras, as much as 200,000 times, taking as long as 400 hours at the rate of 500 chants an hour. He says, on a daily basis, it is necessary to control one's intake of food, water, and sleep to condition the mind and body. He strongly believes that unconditional prayers, hope, faith, and love will always produce miraculous results in healing others. His final food offering, consisting of lentil cakes, assorted fruits, and finally a mixture of herbs and flowers. When I first saw the huge list of items needed for the ritual, I was overwhelmed. I wondered why he possibly needed so much. I also wondered how long it would take to offer these items. I never realized that the ritual would go on for 14 hours. I asked him, does he ever miss the joy of eating a variety of foods or drinking water? He said, I am enjoying something more divine. I wish I could describe it to you in words. Rambau is now holding a rare antique dispenser, offering ghee to the fire. He then circles the fireplace, repeating the offering. During the ritual, Rambhau prefers that others do not touch him due to differences in body temperatures and electrical energies. When others touch him, he receives a shock, which distracts him. He then loses concentration rapidly. It takes a long time for him to rebuild his focus and concentration. When I am in deep contact with the fire, my pulse rate must be very low and my breathing is nearly suspended. Sometimes onlookers become concerned seeing me in the fire. They try to rescue me. I appreciate their love and affection for me, but I am safe in the fire, and I know the fire will not harm me. As the ritual is drawing to a close, Rambhau builds a pyramid over the fire consisting of more offerings: milk, flowers, cow dung slabs, and herbal green. He covers the makeshift pyramid with a large silk cloth, while underneath, the fire continues to smolder. After nearly 13 hours, Rambhau displays very few visible signs of exhaustion. He appears blissful, oblivious to the surrounding environment. Rambhau had once performed the same 14-hour ritual for an absolutely incredible 27 long days without a break. How does this 63-year-old man endure such a long period of time? Finally, as the ritual comes to an end, Rambhau breaks his fast, sipping only 3 drops of water. He then pays tribute to his guru, expressing his gratitude for the successful completion of the ritual. After the ceremony was over, Rambhau's wool clothing and cotton attire were preserved so that further tests could be conducted. Rambhau is exposing the slightly charred cloth to the fire during the ritual. The wool smudges and burns mildly at the edges. This is the wool which did not burn or smudge when it was on Rambhau's chest. The wool is somehow fire resistant when it is wrapped around him. How is this possible? Later on, the same cloth Rambhau was wearing during the ritual is finally set on fire. Yet now it burns and emanates the smell of clarified butter. Why does it burn now, but not when it is on Rambhau? I needed a scientific explanation. I brought a sample of the same cloth to the U.S. and conducted 2 well-known, state-of-the-art flammability tests known as FTIR and GCMS. FTIR stands for Fourier Transform Infrared Spectroscopy, and GCMS stands for Gas Chromatograph Mass Spectroscopy. These tests will determine the presence of any flame retardant or flame-resistant compounds in his clothes. The fabric sample was prepared and solvent extracted for qualitative identification of any organic compounds. The test results confirmed that there was no trace of any kind of flame retardants or flame-resistant compounds on the fabric. The fabric had traces of hydrocarbons and carboxylic acid, which is commonly found in clarified butter. Rambhau recalls, "I feel the eternal grace and the presence of my guru offering guidance to me. When I met my guru 42 years ago, I never dreamt that one day I would have these divine opportunities to serve people of different cultures and nationalities. In addition to the cloth flammability tests, I asked Rambhau if he would undergo routine medical tests before and after the ritual. He gladly agreed to participate. Some holy men might feel insulted if they were subjected to such painful experiments, but Rambhau is open to any legitimate analysis. Prior to the ritual, we took Rambhau's blood and urine samples and performed routine body exams. We decided to perform several different exams on Rambhau before and after the ritual to identify any significant changes. Approximately an hour and 20 minutes after Rambhau removed himself from the fire, we repeated the same tests on him. His body cholesterol and creatinine levels were found to be high. The doctors were trying to explain why his cholesterol is so high. The high urea and creatinine values indicate that Rambhau's kidney functions seem to be abnormal. In fact, his kidney has very little work to do because his daily intake of water is next to nothing.
The life source energy called prana is the secret to our existence. When prana is properly regulated, no disease can attack it. Imbalancing prana is the root cause for all our problems.
3 weeks later, we repeated the same tests on Rambhau, and the test results were similar. Why is Rambhau's cholesterol so high while on such an insignificant diet? Apparently, his body seems to be creating the cholesterol on its own. An hour and 20 minutes after the ritual, his body temperature had risen 2 degrees. What must have been his temperature when he was inside the fire? How has Rambhau been able to live on only a few drops of water per day for the last 28 years? How has he survived with such a small quantity of fiber in his food? Back in the U.S., I showed this documentary to several independent experts for their comments and objective analysis. This is what they had to say. I asked Rambhau, what are his long-term goals? He replied, I have many aspirations. I want to gradually stop eating altogether, making my body as light as possible so that I can levitate and rise above the fire at will. As I evaluate these results, it becomes more apparent that some of the findings surpass current scientific explanation. There are many aspects of Rambhauswami, the Fire Yogi, that are truly on the edge of unbelievability. This phenomenon generates many questions, which forces us to ask, if such things are possible today, what may tomorrow bring? This simple man transcends conventional wisdom and exhibits the limitless possibilities of the human mind, body, and spirit. career as a researcher at a world-class research library at Tanjavur. A Sanskrit scholar, he is also one of only a few who can translate from Modi, a secret encoded language of the Maratha kings. Observing one of his daily routines caught my instant attention. Since 1977, he consumes only 2 bananas and a mere glass of milk twice a day. How does he do it? There is no medical explanation. By scientific parameters and all known medical standards, he should be malnourished, dehydrated, and starved. Yet the proof is otherwise. He is healthy and agile after 26 years of near starvation. He stopped drinking water in 1975, except for a few drops of water as a part of a daily prayer routine. How does he control his thirst and dehydration for the last 28 years? We simply don't know. He sleeps just 3 hours a day, yet remains very fresh and active. Rambhau's eating habits.
Shaktipat 2.
Unusual man who has spent more than 1,000 days in sacrificial fire. Meet Rambhauswami, simple and unassuming, 63 years of age, 5 feet 3 inches tall, weighing a mere 43 kilos, 94 pounds. Yet this man demonstrates qualities that seem to defy the very laws of medicine, physics, even nature. Rambhau exhibits perfect mastery over the mystical, in this case, over fire. Here he will repeatedly offer himself to the sacrificial flames lying amidst a blaze and return unhurt every time. And unlike a number of firewalkers, sorcerers, and magicians, past and present, he is not about performance or ego or a display of powers for commercial gain. One can quickly notice that Rambhau leads a simple life, with days consisting of prayers, reading and researching ancient texts, offering advice and constantly thinking of his guru and his favorite god, Ganesha. For Rambhau, the fire ceremony is his prayer for global peace. At a time when the world is in flames, disarray, and communal disharmony, this simple man embraces the raging flames as an offering toward universal welfare. His guru, a renowned man of inexplicable miracles, was also reputed for his scholarly work in Sanskrit and South Indian classical music. The Swami lived to be 99 years old before passing on his legacy to the young Rambhau. Distanced from worldly chains and the trappings of contemporary society, Rambhau spends his life in prayer to his gods and guru, dedicating his existence in pursuit of knowledge and spiritualism. He began his study under his master's guidance in 1961. Rambhau remains consistent and cooperative, allowing himself to be patiently observed. When we first met, he asked me to analyze him critically as a scientist would. I found this to be a rare request from a guru. In this, I instantly understood that this guru is uniquely open, flexible, and down to earth. Rambhau is always eager to explore newer frontiers. He began his In the fall of 2002, I was traveling across India studying and filming various tantric practices. My quest for tantrics and gurus took me to the ancient temple town of Tanjore in the southern Indian state of Tamil Nadu. For centuries, Tanjore had been the capital of the Chola kings, a celebrated dynasty of ancient India. What you see before you is an example of brilliant architecture of the big temple built 1,000 years ago. It is recognized by the United Nations as a World Heritage Monument. Today, Tanjore still remains a hub for artists, sculptors, musicians, yogis, and scholars. Before I reached Tanjore, I'd traveled some 348 kilometers from the metropolis of Madras, where little did I know what was in store for me. Something rather astonishing and beyond my beliefs. More than I'd ever expected. Once there, I met the